What's the most obnoxious attention-seeking behavior you've witnessed? I knew someone who started a Facebook group that she auto-invited a bunch of people to where she said she had trauma-induced amnesia and she wanted everyone to tell her nice memories that we had about her to help her beat it. What a perfect time to make up bullshit embarrassing stories that you enjoyed. They can't correct you, they have amnesia. Now that I'm thinking about it again, I totally should have done that or said, I loaned you $1,000 last month, and you said you'd have it to me by tomorrow. Anytime a patient comes in with pseudo-seizures, one patient literally said, just to warn you, my aura is very off today, and a few seconds later proceeded to pretend to have a seizure by flopping around like a fish and then settling down like a statue with her eyes closed. Emergency room are in here. I see pseudo-seizures all the time. My favorite one ever was when we were in the points room and the doctor came in while the point was seizing, and I said to the doc, I think it's a pseudo. And before he could even ask me why I think that the seizing point stopped seizing, sat up and said, this ain't fake, bitch. I'm really seizing, then fell back in the bed to continue her seizure. The doc walked out laughing, as did the rest of us. One girl at school, accidentally, dropping a packet of cigarettes into the path of some of the cooler girls. It was embarrassing to see. When my son was being born, my fiancé's mom came to visit from North Carolina. I'm in AR-20 HR Drive. The doctor came in and said she would need a C-section and that she could only take one person in with her. Her mom immediately started in about how it should be her. When my fiancé chose me, her mom stormed out of the room. Turns out she left to go pack all of her stuff at the hotel. She came back for about 10 minutes to see the baby, and then left a week early. With my wife and I's first, we told everyone no one comes until day 2 to see the kiddo. It's a long, exhausting day for everyone, plus we just wanted it to be us and baby. I mean, that's our girl. I want to spend the first hours of her life with her, not passing her around like a little doobie. And Miles showed up anyways. Our amazing nurse knew we didn't want anyone there and promptly kicked her out. God bless that nurse. It wasn't a fight I had energy for at the time. Amaya wasn't happy and called her nurse ratchet the next day. I had a friend who used to pretend to faint regularly. Once it became obvious it was just an act, we started ignoring her when she'd faint, and then she'd get up crying because no one cared enough to check on her. This was just one of the plethora of issues she had. There's one of those in the periphery of my social circle. My honcho watched her pretend to faint to the ground, pause, slyly peek around to see if anyone noticed, then readjust her fainted body into a more walkway centralized position that might be noticed sooner. Super sad. Have an ex who cut her wrists when I broke up with her. She also broke my window, ran around the town naked, etc. that night. But that's a longer story. Instead of actual cutting though, she just made a bunch of very light scratches and sent me pictures of it. It looked like a cat had scratched her or something. No actual bleeding or damage at all. She then proceeded to wear thick gauze bandages on her wrist for the next week at work. So stupid. One time when I was like 17 I nearly drowned. While my friends were checking on me, the drama queen of the group started having a full-blown panic attack. All she needed was everyone to flock around her instead and she was fine. It didn't bother me, but it was the time I realized she did that a lot, having panic attacks when the attention is on someone else. People who fake panic attacks don't seem to understand how people with real anxiety feel. Nobody just starts screaming and breaking down in public unless they have an entirely different disorder. I used to have panic attacks in the middle of school and would still have the ability to quietly excuse them why I left to the bathroom before I start freaking out. And yeah, you can sort of hold them off if the situation requires it. A really hot girl at my old job dropped some stuff in the break room one time and like 4 guys rushed to help her pick it up. I just sat there eating my chips. She gave me a weird look. Few days later, when it was just me, she dropped things again and looked at me like she expected me to come over and help. Just stared at her. It was hard for me to keep from bursting out laughing. I was in a park with some friends when I was a teen, and some nearby drunks threw a bottle at my friend's head. Knocked her out cold. Next, they beat me and my friend up for confronting them. But the worst part is when one of the girls in our group got visibly more and more upset that people were checking on me and the other beat-up guy and ignoring her. She leaves in a huff, and returns a minute later with the worst bloody nose I've ever seen, wailing like a child. She says they came back and tried to rape her. The moment I realized how fucked up she was when all of her friends dismissed it instantly and told her to step back. I can only imagine what they were used to at that point. Years and years ago, I had a friend who slept with a guy while dating another guy. She sent me a text saying exactly what happened with the guy she slept with. She detailed the entire night for me, like I really wanted to read it. I kept my mouth shut because I didn't really know her boyfriend or know a way to get a hold of him. Well, shortly after, she started telling everyone, cops included, that this guy, not the one she was dating, raped her. She had gotten caught by someone leaving his house, so she made up the lie that she had been raped. When she realized what kind of attention she was getting over it, she just kept up with it, even after I told her it would ruin this guy's life. She didn't care. She said, "Better his life than mine." So, I walked into the police station, asked to talk to the cop that was dealing with this, and showed him the text message. She got in trouble for filing a false police report. Other guy just moved away because his reputation was ruined by this girl and he didn't want to have to spend the rest of his life defending himself from it. At my secretary's wedding, one of her bridesmaids tried to make the wedding about her. She demanded a different cut to her dress because the chosen one was not flattering. All the other bridesmaids and the bride had basically the same hairdo. Then our special princess got her own fancy thing going that was different enough to stand out. She got the DJ to play some obscure song that her and the bride listened to like 4 times on a lunch break, so she could have her special time on the dance floor with the bride. After the dance floor shenanigans, she then fainted because she was stressed from all the attention. There was a photo booth. Most people were in there twice. Once with their dates, etc., and then with the bride and groom. Our royal pain in the ass was in there at least 10 times that night. My cousin had her cousin, other side of the family, as her mo, and when it came time for the speech, the mo made it all about her. Basically pages and pages of how she was the one that the husband was talking to first, and how she had gotten the couple together, and basically how everything happened because of her. Isn't she wonderful? It wasn't even in a joking way, she was 100% serious. Kind of an uncomfortable 20 minutes. I just don't get why people still make it about themselves on someone else's special day. My cat, when I don't wake up exactly on time to feed her in the morning, meow meow, commences licking of my hair and pawing of my face. At least all yours does is meow. Mine pisses on the couch. Friend of mine was dating a woman who wanted to be an opera singer. She started singing during dinner at an expensive restaurant. Loudly. My mother-in-law has a frenemy like this. You can't take the woman anywhere with a piano, or you'll be stuck there 5 hours later while she treats whoever else is still in the room to a too loud, overly flowery rendition of some song from the 30s. I have a family member that has to be the center of every conversation. Like if there are 7 people at a table, she has to have every second contribution to the point of talking over anyone who dares try and get their say in. I have a friend on Snapchat who constantly sends out snaps like, "I wish boys would tell me how cute I am," always followed like 30 minutes later by another saying something like, "I guess nobody loves me, okay cool, guess I'll just go die alone." They send these snaps like every other day, and it gets more cringe-worthy every time. Do you have a similar story? Leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.